Hi everyone, this is Tina Hull. How are you doing? Let me just double check and make sure that I'm live. If you're joining me live, tell me where you're from. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. Okay. My computer's getting me a little slow. Sorry. Just want to make sure you can hear me and see me. Say hello. Sometimes my phone doesn't pick up on those things, so I'm just going to check. Oh dear. Hi, Miss Mercy. Give me a minute. Can you hear me and see me? Kicked me out. Okay, good. Yay. Okay, so my phone is not picking up on the messages. So I apologize. I will go through the information. I'll circle back if you have any questions and just keep asking the questions. I will answer you, I promise. Hi, Innocent. How are you? So, Miss Mercy, also, one of my persons was telling me they tried to get into the link that you had sent me for them to register, and for some reason it wasn't accepting them. So I gave her the link for the group. So my apologies, because I know there were a bunch of people that wanted to come in, and I didn't realize it until now. So let's get started. So our topic today is releasing survival patterns and reclaiming your personal power. So I like to start these things making sure we're on the same page by defining certain words. Often we think we understand the word or the concept, but we don't really know the definitions. So I just want to make sure that we're all clear on the words, because what I'm realizing, even when I'm doing content creation for people, that words like survival and releasing and patterns and all these words, you have a general understanding of what they are, but we don't necessarily know the definitions. So just so we're on the same page. So releasing, which was defined brilliantly by Miss Mercy herself in her presentation, is just letting go of certain people, memories, circumstances. Survival is the act or fact of living or continuing longer than another person or thing or existing. Now, I don't know about you, but I used to say that a lot. I'm surviving, which just meant I was existing. Patterns, which I found very interesting. There were 11 different ways of defining this word. English is a funny language, as they say here anyway. So the one I'm specifically referencing is a reliable sample of traits, acts, tendencies, or other observable characteristics of a person, group, or institution. So that's what a pattern is. So generally, when I talk about patterns, especially survival patterns, it's more traits or tendencies, just so, again, we're on the same page. And if we're wanting to let go of just living or existing as a trait or a characteristic, then that's why you're here. If you find yourself saying phrases like, I'm just surviving, I'm living, I'm just here, I'm fine, I'm managing, then you're probably in survival mode. And the definition of survival mode is a physiological and psychological state in which the body, mind, prioritize immediate survival over long-term well-being, and it's often triggered by stress or perceived threats. So everybody has probably heard of that part of our nervous system, the sympathetic part of our nervous system, which is activated in fight, flight, or freeze response. Now there's fawn, and I can't remember the fifth F. So if someone says something to you and it's triggering and it's bringing up a memory from the past, it doesn't even matter how long ago that memory is connected to. It got locked in at the cellular rate, at the cellular level, and the body in the cells remember. And so we have a response, either fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. So you could have your heart rate go up, blood pressure maybe spike, heightened alertness, your elevated stress hormones like cortisol or adrenaline get spiked. You might, your digestion system is off. Either you can't sleep, you can't eat properly, or you overeat because you're stress eating. Our immune system becomes compromised, so we could be sick often. So these are really big signs of stress. And I would say not just any stress, heightened stress. Stress that has happened over the years. So how I've explained it in the past is we have a level of, let's say, a base level of 0. And we have a stress that happens in our lives. And so maybe it's even when we're 2 or 3, and maybe we're upset and it really triggers something in us. Maybe we don't feel supported, or we feel neglected or abandoned, or whatever our young minds interpret the situation as. And so now we've got a spike of stress, and let's say it's at a 2. And let's say it's at a 2 for a few hours. So we're going to go down to the base level of 0. So then let's say you have another stress situation, and this one's a little more intense. Maybe it involves someone else, kids at school picking on you, bullying you. So, and it's going on for a while. So now you've got consistent levels, let's say even at 4 and 5. So maybe this situation, you finish that grade and you don't go up with those same students, or maybe they grow up and they stop picking on you, they pick on someone else, whatever the situation is. You might go down to maybe a 1 or 2, but you're not at that baseline anymore. So now what happens? You grow up, something else happens, and it triggers another stress response. So this is where all the cortisol and the adrenaline gets kicked in at a higher level. And let's say this situation goes on for longer, or it's more of a heightened stress, trauma that experience that's happened. And let's say you're in your teenage years and something really in your mind, again, it's all about perception and perspective. And our brains interpret things differently depending on who we are and our life experience. So now we've got a stress that's lasting for a little bit longer. Maybe we're now at a heightened stress of 7 or 8, but because it subsides, then all of a sudden we're now down to maybe a 5 or a 6. And so we're not back to that 0 again. You notice how everything's accumulating on top of everything else. So then you have environmental stresses. You have, again, mean kids around you. You've got parents maybe that are fighting. Maybe your parents aren't even around. Maybe you've got sibling rivalries going on. A number of things could be happening. Or you add something really traumatic, like being assaulted, and you've got to go through all those childhood experiences. So it accumulates, and our body gets to a point where it can't not just survive anymore. It goes into the state of, you get PTSD, CPTSD, and you're in this wired state. You can't rest, you can't digest, you feel overwhelmed all the time. Maybe you go into anxiety attacks or panic attacks. The body is just heightened. So we get into these states, and then we expect ourselves to go from, let's say we're an 8 to a 0 quickly. It's not going to happen. It's not, unfortunately, unless you get some assistance. It can happen quicker within a couple of weeks, maybe even a month, but not like this. The body is not going to generally doesn't function that well. It can happen, but for most part, it doesn't. So give yourself some grace and compassion and realize that it takes some time for you to get down here so that you can now feel peace, calm, relaxation. These are words, again, that a lot of us know and have never felt. And I know there was one client that I was working with, and we were working online, and she had neck pain that was really intense, and it was going into her shoulder. And I was doing some energy work with her. And after our session, she took a nice deep breath and she said, "Tina, I don't think I've ever felt more relaxed in my entire life." And she was in her mid to late 30s. So we don't even know what relaxation is anymore. A lot of my massage clients will get off the table and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know how stressed I was." This is what we do. We keep pushing, we keep going, we keep doing, we keep going. And our bodies aren't allowed the opportunity to breathe. Just relax. Take a nice deep belly breath with me. So you're going to put your hands together on your stomach, below the belly. You're going to take a nice deep breath in through your nose for 4 count. You're going to feel your belly expand away from your spine. You're going to hold it for 4 and exhale for 6. And then you're going to wait. And then you're going to do it again. Feel the belly expand, feel the ribs expand, and the upper chest expand. For 4, hold for 4, exhale for 8. And then you wait for 4 seconds. This is called box breathing. You do it again. Inhale for 4, hold at the top for 4, exhale for 6 or 8. And this will take you out of that heightened state. It might not lower the cortisol and adrenaline back to 0, but what it's going to do is going to allow your body to relax so that it doesn't spike into maybe a 10 instead of an 8. So this is important. There's so many of us. I was teaching this young group of kids, high school students last year in the summer, and they all upper chest breathe. And because that's how they naturally breathe, they're trying to convince me that's how breath is. I said, no. So if you feel that you're in this heightened state, then what I recommend to a lot of my clients is to do that deep belly breathing at night before they go to bed and try to do 10. And I bet you won't even get to 10 because your body will go into such a state of relaxation that it'll actually put you to sleep. So this is a really good tool for you to use. So when we're in survival, we have different characteristics, ways of being, ways of acting. We tell ourselves different stories. We have different beliefs. And these situations can actually take away our personal power. And for me, I was in a long-term narcissistic marriage, 25 years, and there was a lot of manipulation, a lot of gaslighting. It was a traumatic, abusive situation, not physically, but emotionally and mentally. And I didn't realize how stressed I was until I separated from him. And even though we lived in the same building, I didn't have to see him and interact with him every day. But I had noticed before that my hairline right along here was thinning and hair was coming out in clumps. And I did not make the connection of my marriage and the hair loss until we separated. And then I wasn't losing as much hair. And this started thickening in through here again. So this is how our bodies react and respond. I wasn't sleeping well. I mean, that changed almost instantly. So awareness is key when it comes to these things because then you can do something about it. You can make the change and make the shift. Now, a lot of people that I know are still in survival mode. It's still running in the background. And I always had this notion after leaving my marriage is that I didn't want to just survive. I wanted to thrive. And for me, the definition of thriving is growth-oriented, resilient, proactive mental state that empowers individuals to flourish personally and professionally. And I wanted to flourish. I wanted to thrive, not just survive. So I really encourage you to take a look after we have this conversation and ask yourself, are you in survival mode still, or are you thriving? And if you're still in survival mode, then there's work that needs to be done. And you can reach out to me or any of the others that were here this week, I'm sure. So when we're in survival mode, we're often coming from a wounded or shadow space. And the perceptions are from back as far back as 7 years old and earlier. And it's usually from a victim stance. And it's usually a mentality of everything is happening to me. So if you feel like the world is coming at you and you're just reacting and responding and trying to put out fires and you're in the depths of it all and you're feeling like you're out of control, you're in survival mode. You're not thriving. You're in that victim state. Everything's happening to you. And when I started to shift and becoming more and more aware in my personal development journey, I started to come from a perspective of everything's happening for me. So I'll give you an example. I had a guest. We have 2 apartments, part of our home, and there was this one guest, and man, she triggered me like no tomorrow. I'm like, oh no, what is going on with this woman? Like, she didn't like anything. She complained about everything. I had just put fresh linen on the bed and the towels in the bathroom. She brought them all up in a garbage bag and asked me to rewash them because they smelled musty. And I was just breathing. And it's like, okay. So then I'm talking to a friend of mine and I'm saying, what is going on? Like, I've never had anybody trigger me in my entire life like this woman. And she said, well, aren't you working on feeling worthy and good enough? And I went, oh, duh, because everything's happening for me. So when someone comes at you, this is a good test. I know that something's happening because, again, if it's for me, it's happening because it's showing me that I still need healing. It's showing me that I have healed and my responses and reactions are better, or I have a little more work to do. So it's always for us. So even in our past, the trauma that we've gone through and the experiences we've gone through, I don't know what your beliefs are, but this is my understanding now, is that our soul decided that it wanted to go on this journey. It decided who our parents were. It decided what our life path was going to be, because now we get the opportunity to heal parts of us that weren't healed from past lives, whatever your beliefs are. But it's one of these things where you've got to be completely evolving and growing and expanding and bringing yourself into new awarenesses and new perspectives. Because here's the thing, our beliefs, for most part, are untrue. When I heard that, I was like, what do you mean? That can't be so. I believe what I believe. I know what I know. It must be true. And then I started questioning, because my ex-husband used to say nasty things to me and belittle me and manipulate me and make me feel bad, like I'm a bad mother, I'm a bad wife, I'm a bad everything, not good enough. And I remember thinking, is that really true? When I started doing this work. And most of the time he was wrong. And so I really encourage you, if you've got someone in your ear that is criticizing you a lot, when you step away from them, the best thing you can do for yourself is ask if it's true. If you're hearing voices in your head that repeating over and over again, and it's the ego mind, then ask yourself, is this true? And whose voice is it? Where is it coming from? Because you can have narcissistic parents, siblings, friends, family, and anybody in your past life where they have belittled you, made you feel small, not good enough, not deserving, not worthy. All of those things, it's going to replay in your head. Now, the good part is that there's two parts of our brain. We have our subconscious mind and our conscious mind, and our subconscious mind makes up 95% of our brain. But this is where all the trauma and memories and stories and beliefs get held, because we can't think about these things every day, all day. Now, beliefs are just habits of thought. So if I tell you as a child in the playground that you're ugly, and maybe you've heard it from somebody else or made to feel that way, then it's going to reinforce that you think you're ugly. And then if someone else says it, or someone else makes you feel that way, it gets reinforced. So that habit of thought, I am ugly, gets locked in at the subconscious mind as a belief. And you see how it can't be true? Because there's not a single solitary person in this world that's ugly. So when that happens, the good news is that we can unravel the subconscious mind. So those negative thoughts, feelings, stories, and beliefs get shifted and rewired and reprogrammed. It's got to be conscientious effort, and you start questioning everything that you're hearing and thinking and ruminating about, and the mind. So you can even just, over the next couple days, I encourage you just take out a journal or a piece of paper and you write down those repeated thoughts that you're catching. Just listen, write it down, try to have no emotion around it. You might want to just keep writing for the next couple of days. Once you've got some distance from it, then you want to start going through the process. Is it true? Whose voice is it? And then you just acknowledge it and you just release it and let it go. I hope this is landing, because this isn't part of my presentation, because obviously it needed to be said. So that's tool number 2. So now we want to look at the different survival patterns. So there's 6 of them that I have in my quiz, the survival quiz. So if you are interested in that, if it's okay with Miss Mercy, I can put it in the links at the top afterwards. You can go through it. It'll take you 3 minutes, but it will tell you your survival pattern. And it's really quite amazing and how true it really is. And then there's also a way for you to tell which survival pattern you have. And then if you send me your email, I will send you the archetype of who you want to become so that you're thriving. And in there, you're going to have 3 different practices that you can do every day or as often as possible. And that will set you up to help shift your identity from that survival pattern. So the 6 different survival patterns that I'm specifically talking about today are perfectionism, overachieving, the shapeshifter or the people pleaser, the fortress, not to let anybody in, or the ice queen, shut everybody out, or the dreamer. So if you want the quiz, just say me below, and if it's okay with Miss Mercy, I will put the link above. So for me personally, I'm a shapeshifter, for example, and I adapt, I change, and I can read the room to see who I need to be for me to be safe. Now, I've always known this about myself, but I didn't realize it was coming from a survival pattern. I thought it was part of my personality because I noticed that I don't do that anymore. It's a protective measure. The body and the mind adapts to protect us. So the archetype and the identity that I want to step into is the beacon. And I'm meant to lead, guide, and show others the way to live their best lives. So the fortress becomes the sovereign archetype. The perfectionist becomes the architect. Shapeshifter becomes the beacon. The Ice Queen becomes the oracle. The dreamer becomes the alchemist. And the overachiever becomes the catalyst. And again, if you take the quiz, you'll be able to figure it out. So today I've been guided to help you release the wounded shadow self for the collective, and then guiding you to reclaim the archetype or the identity that is where your true self and power lies. So you may relate to one or many of the traits that I'm going to name. Now, how I do this is I channel a lot of the information, and I've got some notes as well. So whatever lands for you, lands for you. You can make note of it afterwards so that you can really become more aware of what's going on, and hopefully we'll release it. But it's going to be a collective experience. I obviously don't know which archetype you are. If you want to go into that at some stage, I do have a program that takes you through that for a month, where we get into the root of why you're in the shadow, and then take you out of that. So just message me if you want to get into that. So everybody get nice and comfy. Take some nice deep belly breaths. Close your eyes. We're going to get nice and grounded. So you're going to envision roots coming through your feet and your seat, going down, down, down into Mother Earth, wrapping around a beautiful large crystal of choice, connecting you with Mother Earth, taking those nice deep belly breaths still. And now you're going to inhale this earth energy up through the feet, ankles, and knees and pelvis, further grounding you and anchoring you into Mother Earth. And then you're going to envision this beautiful white love light energy coming from God, Source, the universe, your higher power, coming through the crown, going all along your spine, igniting all your chakras, making sure all the chakras are spinning in the same direction, they're the same diameter, the same speed. And settling in your heart space. This white love light energy courses in the heart, around the heart, loving the heart. And with your next deep inhale, you're going to feel this white love energy coursing through your entire body, moving with the circulation of your blood and lymph. Now, what I'm going to get you to do is, if there's any heavy emotions that you're feeling, then I'm going to get you to see these sticky notes all over your body. And you're going to put whatever feelings, emotions, circumstances, stories, beliefs, identity that you have that is still in the survival pattern onto these sticky notes. I'm going to list a bunch of different traits or circumstances or beliefs, and you can either add them to your list, or you can just allow them to float away. So maybe you're feeling not worthy, not good enough, not deserving, Maybe you build walls. You have this notion that you can handle it alone. You become hyper independent. Maybe you seek the right solution, overanalyze, research and research and research, just to avoid mistakes at all costs. Maybe you read the room, you adjust to others, you prioritize harmony, but not necessarily your harmony, others' harmony, because you don't like confrontation. Maybe you numb, detach by emotionally checking out, intellectualizing. You go cold. Maybe you escape and imagine, so you fantasize and daydream, create alternative realities. Maybe you feel like you have to prove something. You have to be busy all the time because you need to accomplish or be accomplished, to demonstrate your worth through doing. So you're exhausted, constantly moving, shifting, changing, trying to fit in, trying to belong. Maybe you have a way of being where you'll handle it all, so you're very independent. You have difficulty asking for help or receiving help. Put it all on these sticky notes. Pull it out from the cellular level, generational, karmic, energetic fields. Pulling it all out and putting it on these sticky notes. Maybe you hesitate. You have analysis paralysis. Can't make decisions easily. You doubt yourself. You worry, you fear. You lose yourself in others, worrying about them and not you. Deplete yourself, where your cup is always empty. You worry about other people more than you worry about yourself. Or you say the quote unquote, I'm fine, where you have emotional distance from partners or friends who feel like you're shutting them out. Or you put things off. Someday will, future focus, avoiding present work. Or you've got this, look at me, look at what I did, because you're tying your worth into external validation. Take a nice deep breath. Again, pulling all these beliefs out, putting them on the sticky notes all over your body. Maybe you have this thought or belief that if I need nothing, I can't be hurt. If I'm perfect, I'll be safe and loved. If I please everyone, I'll belong. I'll fit in. If I feel nothing, nothing can overwhelm me. And if I imagine better, I don't need this reality. So avoidance, sticking your head in the sand. If I achieve enough, I'll finally be enough. Pulling them all out, putting them all on these sticky notes, whatever resonates with you. Maybe some, maybe all. Whatever connects with you the most. Keep pulling it out. Bringing it to the surface. And when it's on the conscious level and it's on the surface, this is where we can release it. So now you're going to envision this tornado like energy surrounding you from the top of your head, around your body, down to your feet. And it's going to pull all these sticky notes at the cellular level, generational, DNA, genetic, or karmic and energetic fields, pulling it all out. You're safe to let it go. You're safe to release what no longer serves you. You're safe to be you. You're safe not to have these ways of being, even though they're wounded and they're shadow, but they're familiar and they're comfortable, as excuses or crutches anymore. Pulling it all out. Pulling it out. Pulling it out. Pulling into this vortex of energy swirling around you. Maybe you can see it, hear it, feel it, touch it. Pulling it out. Allow them to fall down, down, down into Mother Earth for transmutation and change. Turning darkness into light. All these shadows turning into love, light energy. Now allowing yourself to see this beautiful white, purple, iridescent, golden helix. So it's almost like a DNA strand coming down through the crown, healing love, light energy from the divine. And we're going to instill in you qualities of the archetype you want to be part of. So envision this energy coming through the body, into the head, into the neck, into the shoulders, into the third eye, into the throat chakra, the heart chakra, into the back, into the low back, to the solar plexus chakra, into the sacral and root chakra, into the pelvis, down the legs to your feet. Feel this beautiful energy coursing through you. And now you are in the energy where you set boundaries and you don't apologize for being you. Where you choose good enough and your best, and that's enough. Where you say your truth and feel connected, not scared. Where you trust your gut and your intuition, and nothing and no one has power over you. Where you created something just for yourself. Where you've rested without guilt or shame. Feeling those words land deep within the cells, in the heart, and the soul. As I speak the truth, you are love, you are lovable, you are loved. You are meant to be here. You are a miracle. You are magic. and you're God's gift to this world. Allow this energy to course through you. Flood it, flooding your body. Feel it reaching out to the different auric fields, different levels, energy body, emotional body, spiritual body, karmic. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Let me know how you feel. Excuse me for a minute. Sorry, Paul. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry about that. So how are you feeling? I have to go back into the group. Sorry. Just check and see if you have any questions. My apologies. There was somebody who came by to drop something off. Yeah. So you're the first to experience that. I have never done that before. I was divinely guided, following my intuition. So I'm glad you enjoyed. So have a blessed day. If you have no questions for me, just feel this beautiful energy coursing through your body. Drink lots of water. Take time to do the journaling. Make sure that you focus on your breathing from the belly, because the upper chest breathing is going to actually put you into a state of anxiety and overwhelm. So thank you. Have a blessed day. Miss Mercy, thank you for putting this together, and looking forward to having a great day. Bye.